Hello, 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 and welcome to ER Emotional Response. This is Life Coaching with Inc. And today I'm continuing the topic on parenting. It's the new school year, and it's time for us to get back. As parents, aunts, uncles, grandmothers, who's ever involved in that kid's life that's in school, it's your time. Today, I want to talk about being emotionally mute. We talked about the positives of what we can do to make this school year flourishing. But I want to talk about the results of not doing what is beneficial for the child. And what happens is there are a lot of kids emotionally mute. And you see it every day. And you think that maybe they might need pills. They might need to be in a different setting. They might need to be around this person. But the core solution is you. You have to be cognitive of your household, the temperature. I have spoke many times about temperature in the household in regards to being in a relationship, being in a marriage. But now let me focus on the key elements of temperature when it comes to kids in the environment. There is a time and a place for everything. And one of the key things that should go on when you and your significant other are having a disagreement, it's being aware of your surroundings and the kids listening. They might be playing video games. They might be watching TV. They might be on their phones, but their ears are glued to their environment. Why? Because, and you might say it's not even that deep, but it's very deep to them because you're their number one sphere of influence. Number one sphere of influence. It's like the way it parallels the same way as if you were idolizing someone. These kids literally move and breathe and eat based on you. And if you're not attended to that need, and I say it's a need because they look for someone. And if they could look to you, that's better than anything else. And they get shaped by what they see, hear, and feel. And y'all two might be howling and screaming, might be calling each other different names, but it hits them emotionally as hard as it hits the two people involved, which is you and your significant other. And what happens is some kids become emotionally mute. They take on what is going on at home and they mask it. And they say, okay, I don't need to be sensitive, because when you're sensitive, it looks like when you're sensitive and open to the way you feel, it looks like you can be attacked. Or they might say, I might have to not show that I respect other people. And someone has to pay for what is going on at home. And the key person that will pay for what's going on at home is the person that I will bully and pick on. And you might say in your mind, it's not that deep. But in that kid's mind, they need an outlet. They need to gain a sense of identity. And so they find it when they go to school. Every behavior is beyond the behavior that occurs, meaning that there are emotions, thoughts, and events that persuade children to be who they are and what they are. And you might think, while I'm talking about this, oh, she's just talking a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But we are breeding emotionally mute kids. Kids that learn how to cope by not saying anything. Learn how to move forward by being mute. And what happens, these same kids become adults. And because they had all their childhood of no emotional management, they get in relationships and then they learn to manage. And in their eyes, what is deemed as right very well might be wrong. But in their eyes, it's totally right because it's allowing them to cope. And so these are the things that come out when you don't take the time out to talk to them, to spend time with them, to see why they feel a certain way. You have to invest. Have to invest. Because it's a lot of kids growing up emotionally mute. They mute. They know exactly what's going on. They have a lot of feelings. But because they don't have an outlet, an avenue to vent, they are walking through this world and they are becoming robotic in situations. They're not responding. They're not seeing anything. They're not doing anything. And you might think, okay, my kid is just shy. But I don't believe in shyness. This is why I don't believe in shyness. Because there's a such thing as introverted. And just because you come across some kids that are extroverted, that don't mean when you come across the fifth kid, they must be shy. No, they might be introverted. They might be melancholy. And melancholy is not a negative. It's a characteristic within your personality that allows you to be reserved with no negative connotation. Just the positive connotation of being chill, laid back. And so to avoid these emotionally mute kids, we have to bring awareness about it. We have to talk about it. If you're a single mom or a single dad and you don't have a significant other in the house, you have to manage your emotions. Take time to manage your emotions. Please don't get caught up in the idea that I'm just busy providing a home, providing clothes, providing food for them. No, you have to be emotionally available. Because what will happen is that kid will in turn, and they're strongly capable of it. There are some exceptions, but they're strongly capable of becoming emotionally mute. And so I challenge you to, as a single parent, take the initiative to manage your emotions. If you're going through anger, work through the anger. Work through the pain under the anger. Work through the hurt under the anger. Resolve in your mind what is going on so your son or daughter is not attacked verbally when they see you. You're just like your mom. You're just like your dad. All of those things are very toxic. And in the end, they produce a child that you really don't want You don't want a child with a disposition formed from being verbally attacked. So, you have to take the time out to say, this can happen. Let me check myself. The old saying was, check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, you will wreck the whole household. The entire household will be wrecked because you did not check yourself. Check your emotions. Check everything going on with you so that it don't spill over into your kid and your kid becomes emotionally mute. Because if they are going home to a bunch of chaos and leaving from a bunch of chaos, you best believe they will not be emotionally available to be in school. And so you're saying just know how to compartmentalize and go to school. No, it's not that easy. It's not that easy for you to go to work and manage unmanaged emotions. So you have to be aware. You have to be aware, because sooner or later they're going to justify being emotionally mute and you won't be able to control it. So then they become a teenager and you want them to respond and talk to you and they're not there because they've been trained from trauma, from experiences in the household to become emotionally mute. Mommy doesn't have time for that. Daddy doesn't have time for that. Self-preservation is the first key of life, so they learn how to survive through it. So as this new school year starts, be cognitive of that. And I want to challenge those under the sound of my voice. If you know your cousin, your brother, your sister is mistreating or mishandling a child, and abuse, whether it's verbal, physical, or sexual, please don't close your eyes to it. Please don't turn a deaf ear to it. Because your quietness will create a quiet adult that eventually will burst and lash out at somebody. This was a very uncomfortable podcast to talk about, but it was very necessary. We have to know the temperature of our households and manage them in such a way as productive. Your daughters is not, and let me say this before I close out. Your daughters is not your outlet to discuss your relationship issues with. Your son is not your outlet to discuss your relationships issues with. Can you advise them and talk to them about the opposite sex? There's a difference between talking about them in regards to their relationship building with the opposite sex versus using them like they're your girlfriend or male counterpart to talk about issues regarding your relationships. You can't affect that. They're just a child. The maturation of the brain is not fully formed to 25. So you're feeding them adult issues to an immature child. It's like giving table food to an infant. They're on milk. They can't process that fully. And when they do process it, it will be in such an unhealthy way, it won't benefit them.